your opinion, how much does he value being the captain of the Ottawa Senators, which is the nation's Canada's capital, and he happens to be in America?
Yeah, I think it matters a lot to him that he wears the C. I don't think he's ever taken that for granted. I do think, kind of from what I said from the top of it, everything that transpired between Canada, USA, I think that's changed the whole dynamic of it. I think if you asked me this question 2 years ago, I'd be wholeheartedly loves being in Canada, loves being the captain. And I'm not saying he doesn't necessarily, but I think everything that's kind of gone on, bigger picture, with him winning the gold and not having kind of a hero's welcome in Ottawa because of everything else going on, has kind of changed I'd imagine how he perceives Ottawa, and everything going along with it. But it is an interesting thing that you've mentioned with Quinn Hughes, Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk. Do you want the best player on your team in a Canadian market to be American? Do you want your captain to be American? That's not, but I do think with everything else going on, I think it matters more than I would have said 4 years ago or 2 years ago. I think it is a good question to ask and a difficult answer to have. I think moving forward, I think a lot of Canadian teams have to be mindful of who they draft up high. If you're a Winnipeg, if you're an Ottawa, if you're maybe even a Calgary, and you're at the top of the draft, like for example, this year, right? But if it's the 4th overall pick and you're the Canucks and it's you and it's a Canadian from Burnaby versus a guy from, South Dakota, maybe it's better to have a Canadian be there who wants to probably understands what it's like to grow up in Canada and being a captain and et cetera, or just being a really good player or a star player on a Canadian team. So I think it's going to matter more. And I think it's going to be not the same, but maybe in a similar kind of way of viewing it as how teams look at drafting Russian players. I think for Canadian teams, you drafting an American, it's a bit more of a bet, and you have to be more calculated about it, especially higher up in the draft, just with their willingness to stay in Canada.